Hello, hello, my lovely friends. People are filtering in slowly. I've got more people on the way. I will kind of reiterate the message as we go because it's Joel. So we end up with more guests than ever because everyone wants a piece of Joel. So long story short, guys, if you're new to the Cup of Joe calls, please join the group. Seriously, why have you not joined already? Um,
Exactly.
Exactly. Second of all, I've asked Joel not to look at the chat, so he cannot see your comments, but I promise to filter them in through the call in a seamless manner. And I will have a keen eye on them at all times. And if you'd like to send a message to Joel, I will make sure that the chat gets sent to him after the call. And as per usual with these calls, this is not like a go on Google, get someone that's a quote unquote successful, not quote unquote, totally hugely weirdly successful, like the guy's like a magician. If you want to be able to harness that and learn from that, that's not what you're going to get from this call. Join Joel's acting class, seriously. What you're going to get from this call is a little bit of the magic energy that Joel just spreads every time he shows up. I remember your TikTok videos. It was like a little dopamine hit. Every time I hate TikTok, but I would see your videos. It was like a little dopamine hit. And secretly, that's why I reached out to you. I was like, I want that buzzing, vibrant energy. So we've already in the first call, we've already asked Joel about all the secrets of his childhood, where he came from, what his motivation was. And then we had Joel on a call where he, in a weirdly intuitive way, asked me questions. I have never been so uncomfortable in my life. Turns out it's not easy
On the other
being on
side.
that side. It's not. I thought, oh, piece of cake. So I still ask those questions, but now I get what you guys feel like. But this is years ago. Joel and I are whole different people. All of you in the audience, we're entirely different people. And it's time we catch up. Look at
Yay.
the state of the world and dissect it and decide what place we want to be. Where I think is this fair to say, Joel, decide what we want to be putting out into the world and what we want our role to be, because it's in our hands, isn't it? Is what we were
Absolutely.
talking about before the call. What's your take on all the changes?
Um, I think that you were talking to me before we started about seeing a lot of sort of messaging out there about uh, pivoting and people sort of um maybe feeling a little bit like there's this sort of giant avalanche coming towards this industry that is gonna wipe us out like dinosaurs potentially. And I get that. And I do get, wanting to sort of look ahead and have, a sense of, well, what are my other passions? What are my other secure, how will I feel secure in my own self and not live with this anxiety all the time? And I totally get that. But um what we were talking about was the fact that this industry has always had
Mhm.
something coming at it. Um and uh, you know, going from if you're going from tape and razor blades to then home booze, which meant a gazillion more people were able to do this job, and compete. And then ACX, and people could directly audition and not have to go through publishers, and that changed the landscape. Um and on and on. Um and I think that for me, the thing is every day saying to yourself, how am I trying to hold on to the joy, and how am I trying to kind of up my connection as a storyteller. And the more that the more tools we bring as a storyteller to our work, the less anything non-human can replace us. The less those things will potentially make us less desirable. And I think that, in a similar way, it's kind of like it's like being a concert pianist versus somebody who plays an electronic keyboard, right? We still want to go to Carnegie Hall. We still want to see someone touch that Steinway and have that we need the instrument and the humanity, and we need that. And when you kind of look at, when you go, okay, well, how, if I do have some fallow period, or I do feel like there's a gap, what can I do that challenges me, that gives me something new in my toolbox, that makes me feel fulfilled, that's a new thing that I didn't have before, that ups my game as a storyteller? Because the human experience is always going to need actors. The human experience is not always going to need dictators or readers. Readers are, we can now have something read to us that is not human, and it's quite effective, but it doesn't make you feel. It doesn't bring you a cinematic experience. It doesn't bring you voices and emotion and subtext and humor and wit. And I think that's where the more you say to yourself, how am I letting myself grow as an actor in my joy and my craft and my passion, in the things that brought you into wanting to do this in the first place?
The process, the feet on the ground, because also, Joel, oh my God, don't let me drop this one, because while you're doing that, you might start off in anxiety, right? But you're refining your craft. You're keeping working, and don't come at me with any excuses for not working, because I will say the words public domain, reach out to indie writers, create your own work. I don't want to hear any,
Right.
But
Well, yeah.
if you're working and you're refining your craft, like you're saying, adding to your toolbox, it doesn't a large part of the you get little highs
Right.
from, ooh, I did that well. I did that well. So maybe it stops being about how fallow is this? When's my next paycheck? To the guy going to Carnegie Hall, he's reminded every single day, isn't he,
Yeah.
of why he loves it, because he's having to practice.
Yeah. And I think another thing that happens to a degree, talking about you're talking about the indie work, you're talking about going out and seeking authors. I think that a lot of people look at busy narrators and successful narrators and think that they are busy because the big five are keeping them busy. That is not the case.
Yeah.
With, I think, most people. I have a very, very hefty indie, part of my calendar. And there are authors that are indie relationships that I've done 21 books for, 22 books for, and those are the authors that will keep you going.
And you learn from them, and their
Exactly.
work is amazing, and their business acumen,
and here's the other thing that I think people sometimes need to hear is, I'm a journeyman narrator. I am not, I am not Simon Vance. I am not at that top tier. I am very lucky. I am booked out pretty much a year ahead. I'm very lucky. I'm a busy guy. I work a lot, but I am not, but it is
Joel, I'm sorry. The first time I heard your name was the second day I was an audiobook narrator and communicated with anyone online, and a group of 8 different narrators were all agreeing that Joel Froomkin is the best male narrator
Well,
working today. Nobody could believe your output and your success rate, and you're known. You might not see yourself
well,
that
thank you.
way.
But I think that that means a lot to me because it is recognition
Yeah,
from
it's
other
recognition.
people on the ground in the craft. That does not mean that I am getting the book Scott Brick gets. You don't go to an airport bookshop and see 40 books narrated by Joel like you do, you can Hillary and
Yeah.
Scott Brick and those people and Simon Vance. And that I have a different career. But I think it's important for people to also know you don't have to be wildly don't expect, not you don't have to, don't expect for every single book that comes your way to be a career defining book or something. There are times where this is a job. And when you accept that part of that workload is the job, you as an actor, right? You find the passion in the project. If I'm not relating to something I get sent, I go to Goodreads and I read reviewers that have 5-starred something that I'm like, I don't know, I'm not feeling this. I see why people are crazy about it, and I do the book for those people. You find a new challenge in that book, but it's okay to accept that that you don't have to judge your career because every book is not a James Patterson book. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean they don't have things about them that are strengths. You don't love those authors, whatever. But, I've done 400 gay romance books at this point. In a lot of cases, it's a job. Those books are now a job because it's a, they are very often those listeners or readers want familiarity. They crave. You go into like romance groups and you see people go, "Oh, I just read this book about an alien hockey player from Colorado who works at a bar. Can you recommend other books for me that are the same?" And
Yeah,
NP
I'm listening to the Agatha Raisin series. I
Oh, it's my
think this
those are my favorite books of all
I'm
time.
listening to it backwards now
They're
because
my
I've listened to it like 10 times. It was one of
they're,
the first audiobooks I ever listened
they're
to.
my favorite. Literally,
Penelope
MC
Keith.
MC Beaton is my favorite
Yeah,
favorite author.
me too.
Um, the If you ever get a chance to listen, they're hard to find, but Davina Porter actually narrated the Hamish Macbeth mysteries. Male protagonist,
Yeah.
fascinating to have a female narrator do a male protagonist. Brilliant. But anyway,
I should check that out because I used to
yeah,
love the Hamish Macbeth TV
yeah.
series, but
But
it's Penelope Keith.
oh, I love
I've
her. Yeah,
She's gotten me through every
yeah.
hard moment of my entire life that,
I totally get it and relate to it. But here's the thing. If I could say what career, if I was had $1 million and could only do what I wanted to do, right? It would be classics, middle grade, and cozy mysteries. Now, the reality is that I'm quite lucky that about twice a year, 3 times a year, I'll get sent a classic. Lovely. I'll get sense, but cozy mysteries, they don't write them for men. They literally do not write them for men, hardly ever. But so I think a lot of people get upset that the books they love to read are not necessarily their career. And that I think is another thing to kind of let yourself kind of find. You got to find the joy, you got to find the fun, you got to find what
yeah.
makes you with the new challenge in every book.
But
um
but also reaching out to indie writers because I had that. I was booking a lot of nonfiction
mhm.
and I wanted to narrate thrillers. And I was like,
Yes.
is it all about the money for me? And I remember when I made the decision to start reaching out to indie writers, um, personally, and I was determined. I did like
Oh yeah.
reach out every single day. I didn't just, oh, I'm going to reach out to 3 or 5 and then get upset because nobody gets back to me. And another narrator told me, well, that's not sustainable. Because I was like, at the time, getting a lot of nonfiction. I was like, I'm just going to do them double my work schedule. Not forever,
Yeah.
but to add them to my portfolio and I started booking
Right.
books I love, books I
Yeah.
love with writers I love. But then what I did, I don't know if you ever do this, but I find that I'm guilty. When I get what I thought I wanted, I value it less than the thing I don't have. Suddenly I was like, but why are the publishers not giving me as much as they did? Well, because you're busy doing the books you
Right.
said you wanted, Danielle.
Right. Exactly. That happened to me. It happened to me. There was a publisher that used to give me work all the time. All the time. And it is it went they went completely kind of fallow. And I was panicked about it and I was taking it on and I was like, "Oh my God, what did I do? They hate me." And my husband was like, "Joel, every time they asked you your availability, you said you couldn't get it done for them for 6 months. They they just need you sooner." And if you could, so it's we take this stuff in ourselves, and but you're
Yeah,
absolutely right. And here's the other thing: when you find work you love, usually, usually if you find work you love that you go after and it's indie and it's royalty share, right? You read the Amazon preview, you get it on Kindle for free, whatever, um, and you're like, this is amazing. The reality is if you think it's amazing, eventually someone else might think it's amazing. And those are the books that very often publishers will then want that author. You know,
it keeps, there's a reason I don't promo, I don't do a video clip anymore until I've done the book
hmm
because 7 times, coincidentally, I've had an excited author after I've already done the sample and been ready to do the book contact me and say, "Oh my God, I've been trying for 7 years and a publisher just picked me up." And I'm like, really? Is this a coincidence? So I am keeping my mouth
yeah,
shut
yeah,
until that book is
right.
done.
But so often those authors that you cultivate and you forge those relationships with end up being picked up by Podium or being picked up
Yeah,
by Tantor and those backlist, publishers. And those are and when you get that way in the door, you know, it's a
yeah,
way to build up. But I mean, here's the thing. I guess in terms of pivoting, going back to that a little bit, I would be, in a weird way, I would be hypocritical if I didn't recognize the fact that I'm also, I also teach classes, right? I teach my class.
mm,
I teach, I coach privately. And my husband and I do a narrator cruise. So is that pivoting? I don't think it's pivoting. I think it's branching. And I think if you can find a way to not go, "Oh my God, I have to throw away this aspect of my life." How can you further and develop? How
yeah.
can you how
Follow
can you how can the roots connect?
the
Uh
way my brain works is I have enough confidence in myself and my ability that I know that if I'm left, like I did when I became a narrator, like I did when I did the acting, like if I need to, I'll just, I mean, my main career goal is once I'm like 70, 80, I'm going to go back in film and stage. I'm going to be an actress.
yeah.
I'm going to be an old white-haired. I'm waiting for all the competition to die, and I'm going to start I'm serious. I mean, people think I'm joking, but I read somewhere in the Woody Allen films and The Cocoon and all, there's a set of actresses, there are like 4 or 5 of them, that they get all the work
Mhm.
because that's what they do. So all I have to do is stay compos mentis until,
Yeah.
but in the meantime, I know I'll do something, but I don't have my focus and energy is on doing what I love.
Yeah.
And as long as it's there, but I think, can I challenge? I know that people say that on social media, it's if you reach out and talk about your problems and everything, you get kind of validation. You get other people are in the same boat and it makes you feel better. And I
Mhm.
realized the other day, it doesn't make me feel better. It makes me
No.
feel like everyone's in a like up the creek. And so I must be too. It doesn't make me feel better. I wish people would talk about their successes more. I want to hear from the people that are doing well.
Yeah, I mean, and and to be honest, from here's the thing, from a business standpoint, just and we are our own business. That's the problem. Our persona
Yeah.
is our business. I I talk about it like, let's say there's like two bakeries on the same street, right? And and they both sell cupcakes, and one has like a line out the door, and the other one is empty, and it doesn't have a line. That does not mean one cupcake is better than the other, necessarily. But which one are more people going to which more are more people going to get in line for? And
Yeah.
I
You
think
want to work with busy people.
and I think that you're absolutely right. Social media is not, when you're a professional actor, it can't be your therapist. It you have to remember that, you know, you're you are your own PR person. And that doesn't mean you lie. I'm not saying you lie.
No.
You're just choosing which slices of yourself to honestly share and which to keep different, in a different place.
Right.
And so,
So
you
it's not
know,
a race to the bottom.
right. I mean, and and here's the thing, in terms of people that you're talking about, are very there are some people that are very vocal.
And to be fair, I don't have any one person in, I
Right, right.
literally can't think of anyone off
Yeah.
the top of my head.
But there
It's a
are some people that
general.
are very, very vocal about pivoting, and those are the same people that I saw talking about the fact very publicly that no one was booking them. And I think you've got to kind of say to yourself, I need to protect my brand as well as protect my soul. And that's why you want to have friend groups you can DM. I have a group of gals that mean the world to me, that we can talk about anything. We can bitch, we can whatever. But it's very different than the things I feel are healthy, helpful, or smart for me to share widely.
And also those people, if you choose them to, like, shout out to Gina Rogers, if you choose someone that you know is a safe place that you can say, oh my God, this is awful, I'm awful.
We
And then
need
they'll give
that.
you 2 seconds of, oh yeah, I know. By the way, what's good? What good's going on?
Yeah.
That's like but if you choose someone that's equally, then you're gonna, but I do have to be honest. And I want to be very, very careful to be, I don't have a problem if people are sharing the idea of pivoting. I don't want anyone to watch this and feel
No,
like I'm calling them out, because I'm not. It's a general, there's a lot. There's a lot.
there is. And I think there's a difference between um sharing the joy you're finding in pivoting, sharing new passions, sharing new aspects of your life that you are exploring and finding excitement about, and and letting your own negativity
Yeah.
and letting your own negativity and uh
Scarcity energy.
yeah, because it's I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps you. And again, I don't think it's a lack of being honest or transparent. I think it's a way of you um you changing the messaging for yourself, you know?
And that because I was meeting with a creative, because we always keep coaching. I was meeting with a creative coach through the acting in the UK here, and she made me think about something, about, because I was telling her
Mhm.
90% of the time I'm this like analytical spreadsheet. I've got to do so many minutes a day. I've got to finish 2 hours a day. I've got to, or we'll all die. Like,
Right.
basically that's a message. And 10% of the time, I'm this 10-year-old full of joy. There's
Hmm.
bubbling up joy that could conquer the world. And she challenged me, could you move that 10% and just do 11%?
Yeah.
Just now, just not later, now.
Yeah.
And what I started doing is deeming myself a success. The conversation I have with myself. So I'll narrate in the booth, and instead of those 2 hours, I'm like, wow. And so I'll finish the session. I'll get, not always, if I feel horrible, but there have been a few times I've been like, that was magical,
Yeah.
magical. And that feeling in myself, I'm not
Right.
going to go and post everything I do is magical, but because I'm feeling it, I told you my friend told me the other day they booked like 3 jobs and they
Hmm.
were hesitant to kind of like, I feel a little bit, good. It made me feel so good.
Yeah. I'm so it's so great for me to now have so many students that have come through the course and things like that because their success becomes your success in a
Yeah.
way. And I
Yeah.
don't mean that in like, oh, I'm the one that made it happen like that, I don't mean I take ownership of it. They do the work. They're the ones that make it happen.
You're
But but
invested. You're
there's
invested and you care.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and it's a little piece of magic today. Like for instance, I have a student that I really believe in. I think she took class like probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I just think she's magical. Magical. And sometimes you want somebody to like just burst onto the scene and superstar, and we all know it's a marathon, right? And 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 I'm like, why doesn't everybody know how great she is? And today she got this fabulous audio file review, and I was just like, it was like I was like a dad.
Yeah.
It was and that was just absolutely thrilling. And I want to, here's going back to the indie thing.
Yeah.
um I want to make sure people know that writers want to hear from you. Writers want to hear what you think you see in their book that could bring it to life. What in those you read let's say you read a chapter, 10 pages in the Amazon preview, and because it's the kind of thing you want to do, and you're like, "Oh gosh, this character," they authors love validation as much as we love
Yeah.
validation.
They want to hear from a fan who is also a professional, not from a business
Exactly.
marketer who
Right.
considers them a number.
Yeah.
Like that's the key. They want to hear from somebody that loves their book as much as they do
Yeah. Yeah,
and wants to bring it
100%.
to life.
Yeah. Um and I think that sometimes we feel like we're bothering people. Um and we're not. And I it's a similar thing with casting directors. And I'm not, yes, don't reach out more than like every 3 months or whatever, or unless you have something really amazing to tell them, like you got an earphones award, or you got this fabulous new book, or you're working with a new publisher, whatever. But I think it's really important for people to remember that casting people's job is to get these emails. And I think that's,
Yeah.
like, I remember I used to work in casting offices like way back when it was like headshots and submissions and in the manila envelopes and whatever. And, and
You're all you're
I'm
OG.
old. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like when I interned, but like, you gotta remember it's their job to find talent. It
Yeah.
is their job to be aware and to be abreast of what you have to bring to the table. Um, and so it's so hard because we feel like we're bothering people. We feel like we're
But it's our job to communicate. It's what Charlotte
yes,
Thornton said. It's not a meritocracy.
no,
Sorry. They're casting. I already have too many blondes, this and this. That's the initial. you are being fit into a slot. No, it's not personal. No, I'm
Yep.
sorry, you special magic bubbling out is not gonna get your foot in the door most often. So it's our job to package our magic, isn't it?
Yep.
To
Absolutely.
make that so clear that and consistent
Right.
that eventually somebody,
Yeah. And you know, very often, or sometimes you get lucky, and no matter how weird this business gets, there's that one person out there that you know sees you and believes in you, and that can really sustain you.
you
That
told me
can,
that was Rin.
yeah, for me, it's
Yeah.
Rin. Absolutely.
See, I remember our
You
calls.
do. That's amazing. Wow. But like, and it's and you need to find that person, and you will. Um if you are on the right path, if you know truly what your product is, if you are, you know, working to develop your toolbox to the best your toolbox can be, you can find that person.
And have the confidence to let go of the low-hanging fruit. I recently let go of a project that was really high paying because the second sample wasn't right and I could tell and I knew I wasn't ever going to get. I listened
Mhm.
to her feedback. I loved her book and
Right.
I'm not the right voice for it because
Yeah.
she wanted something I couldn't deliver. Guess what? Yes, I could have used the money to pay for those faux fur coats, but it would have been miserable, wouldn't it? It would have been
Oh,
awful.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There are, there are whole swaths of the, within that gay romance world. There are whole swaths of that stuff that I'm like, I am not the guy.
You put so much meaning behind the word swath in that
I
statement.
am I am not the hockey player, special ops, Navy SEAL, and there's a whole lot of those. And I'm like, it's not, I could make myself sound some like that, but it's not going to be true. It's not going to be authentic, and I'm going to be
Yeah.
miserable all day. I'm going to feel like I'm, you know, doing
Yeah.
something. Yeah, it's so no, I think that's absolutely true. But um and the ability, yeah, the ability to develop relationships that with authors, with indie authors and whatever, that can sustain you
Yeah.
um is what keeps me employed, you know?
And it's also like having friends at work. They become
Absolutely.
your friends. Kaylee says, I love you guys for saying that. Sometimes it's just not a good fit and it's okay to
No.
walk away. It's a superpower to walk away because it opens a space for what is yours.
Yeah,
You know, it's like if you
absolutely.
stay in a bad relationship for years and years and years, how are you ever gonna find a good relationship?
And very often, what's lovely about this industry is we know who it should be.
Yeah.
That happens to me all the time. I'll be like, you know who you want? You want this guy. Um, and that's, I'll message. For instance, I know an author. She writes a lot of gay romance. She's written a book on writing, and she's incredibly smart. And I wrote to her and I said, because all she has is male narrators, and because she does gay romance. And I said, if the time comes that you want to put this in audio, I not only know female narrators who are great, I know female narrators who are authors, and they will bring something very unique to this
Yeah,
if you need
exactly.
names, and we lift each other up. And I
Yeah.
think that that's important. But yes, it's a scary time in certain ways. But I don't think it needs to be as scary if you keep challenging yourself to grow. and you keep asking yourself, what can I do in the next 3 months that I couldn't do 3 months ago? What can I give myself? You know.
And you know the whole like you the world that you live in and that you see is an entirely different world than the world that I live in and that I see. And we had that recently because my bird was not well. And it's my pet, it's my,
Mm-hmm.
and she was crying. Well, my husband doesn't have great hearing. He didn't know she was crying. He's
Mm-hmm.
perfectly fine. So a few days later, I show up and my whole face is he goes, "What happened to you?" I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Because we live in different worlds. I'm waking up," and he got it. Fair enough to him. He understood. I'm waking up stressed and so to a large extent, I think it's our job to decide what world we want to wake up in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean by the news we listen to and the things we put into our head and how much and what you said about lifting each other up, like paying attention to the good things in our friends' lives, telling our friends about our successes. I was sitting there watching Honey Buns or Honey, I think it was called Honey Buns series. And I thought, oh, Total Comfort TV. And I screamed at the top of my lungs, Gina Rogers
Mm-hmm.
walked out. I was like, my God, with those things. Pack your day with those things. And the bad stuff is going to kind of pass. Everything does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, I have
absolutely.
a challenge with that because I'm like any little social media thing, I go straight to it and I like all there. Miserable.
100%. Um, it's funny going back to what you said about the 2 hours and the getting the work done, and it's funny because I'm so different because I my imposter syndrome is ridiculous. It's absurd. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but if we have, just
We talked about it in the way that I remember you told me a story about that time you dressed up going to APAC
oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
what you were feeling
But
about it
but but the
beforehand.
way the way that the way I've had to learn to cope is my amazing husband Rich, who organizes my life and keeps me functional, despite the fact that he has a gazillion things to do for his own life. Um, what we've realized is I have to have a word quota a day, and Rich splits every book into half day quotas for me because emotionally, me looking at 300 pages scrolling down is overwhelming. But I can look at 33 pages for my morning and feel the accomplishment as I scroll down through that 33 pages. And if I know I have to get to that, that's kind of how I keep myself going. Because
I would have a heart attack. I would have
if I
a heart
didn't,
attack.
if I
I
didn't, I would record probably one book a month because I
I,
would
I
do it
would
over
panic.
and over and over and over and over again.
I couldn't. I have my pages on a spreadsheet
Yeah,
and I know I'm doing page such and such to page such and such today. I know exactly how many minutes it's going to take.
yeah,
And
okay.
and on each page, if I write down the page I'm on now, I know how many minutes I have left and how many minutes it'll take me to finish the narrating.
But doesn't that change book to book depending on the specific challenges
No,
of the book?
it's
Really?
almost always exact because what I
Wow.
do is I take the first 15 minutes of the book. Nonfiction nonfiction is always, it's never through an indie writer. Nonfiction is always through a publisher. So I
Hmm.
don't have a sample. So nonfiction is always
Yeah.
1.5 what
Hmm.
fiction is for me. But fiction, I take the first 15 minutes, I divide it by the amount of pages, and that's how many minutes per page it's going to be. And that is consistent. I know I do almost exactly 8,700 words per finished
Chunk.
out,
That's amazing.
or 87,000,
Yeah.
8,700, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Slower than ACX tells the
Right.
writers.
Yeah. I mean,
Thanks, ACX.
I do between 19,000 and 20,000 words a day on my work days.
Yeah.
Um, And that's I have to function in structure, because if I don't, my own perfectionism and doubt will prevent progress.
We
Well,
both kind of do the same thing. The thing that you do that I
okay.
can't do is I can't think about how much I had to have ahead of me.
Interesting.
Because I would like panic. I would just panic. If I start thinking about what's to do, my brain
Right.
spirals.
Well, that's, I mean, but if you think about it, that's why he breaks it. I mean, the smaller chunks, me looking at
Yeah,
33 pages versus 300 pages for the whole project does kind of help that.
yeah.
Um, but you know, we all have different coping mechanisms.
But you've also got Rich. We all could,
We all could use
we
a
all
Rich.
wish we had a Rich.
He's pretty he's pretty darn smart.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Actually, that person that was talking about how amazing you were in that group when I was a new narrator, they said, but he has,
but he has
I
Rich.
don't think I remember Rich's name at the time, but they were like,
Huh.
and he does these amazing things. So yeah, so he did get credit even, even in the beginning. You guys are like the super team.
Well, basically every skill I completely lack, luckily he has.
But that's a that's
Oh
a good
yeah.
relationship, and that's how we are. That's I believe that opposites
Hmm.
work well together. You have to have some things in common. So, are you happy, Joel? Are you happy
Am
like
I
with where
happy?
you are right now? And are there things that you do? Are you trying to change or are you just happy in the moment? How are you?
I'm okay. I'm good. I'm okay. Um I I want to, we were kind of a little bit of talking about this. I want to take more, I need to learn that if there is a gap in my schedule, it is not the end of the world, because something that I really want to do, I need, I'm not saying this right. I want to have space in my life to chase more and actively pursue more the kind of stuff that I don't get to do, or don't get to do enough, that I really love doing.
You want to
Um,
pivot.
Perhaps genre pivot. Yeah. I mean, and it's and the thing, I am grateful for as busy as I am and the work that I have. I would love, I need to find the confidence, and overcome the trepidation of allowing there to be more um room for me to chase, to find those things, and have room in my schedule to do those things. That's the
Kate,
problem.
Kaylee says, what is the genre you'd love to do more of again?
Um, I'd love to, like I said, I'd love to
She
do. I
said,
think I'd love to do more middle grade. Um, and I'd love to do more historical fiction. I think not necessarily historical romance, but I'd love to do more historical fiction. Um, and I'd love to find cozy mystery. I love cozy mysteries. They're just incredibly freaking hard to find. But
With
yeah,
main male
yeah,
protagonists.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you actually look up cozy mystery on Wikipedia, it says it is primarily, it says it is a female driven. Um,
Except Hamish Macbeth would be an
and they
example.
literally on Wikipedia use Hamish Macbeth as an example of an exception. It's funny that you say that.
But they had a female narrate it.
Yeah, but
Did
he's a male protagonist. There's not usually, usually cozy mysteries have a female lead.
Yeah.
So, and then they did switch to a male narrator eventually. I've forgotten the guy's name, but he's also great. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the
So you
thing.
need to find a writer. that's interested in going into
I
cozy
do.
mysteries?
I absolutely do. I've been I have actually had a writer write a book I pitched in the past. It
I
was
think you, no, but I mean, that could be an amazing, that could be quite something. That could sell really well if you found a writer that you could collaborate with. I mean, cozy, that that's a niche.
yeah,
And then once it becomes successful, you'd have other
absolutely.
people writing it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
so you need to start the
I do.
genre.
Yeah. I mean, getting to narrate the Poirot mysteries because of that, the Hercule Poirot mysteries that I've gotten to do for Spotify was a dream come true. It was like
Unbelievable.
amazing. Like I was in heaven. Um, but I will
And
say when I get those books that I really want to do, it is very hard for me to let go. Like I will want to chisel away at those things and get every line perfect. And I just, the more I love a book,
yeah,
the harder it is for me to get it recorded.
I got that with the thrillers, and I've got,
Yeah,
and Jen says, I'm sure you aren't the only one wanting this, Joel. Jump on it. We all agree with that. I have to say, when I started reaching out to thriller writers, and they were that I only reached out to people that I'd checked the numbers, I knew it was going to pay, and I could genuinely reach out to them and say, I have faith in this book, and oh my
yeah,
God, I love it. And then I was surprised half the time they wanted to pay. They didn't want royalty share
hmm,
because they knew their book was going to sell.
right,
But my problem was the same as yours. I overthought it. I wanted it perfect. I knew the writer, and oh my God, I loved it. I felt a personal responsibility.
hmm,
And as a result, I couldn't stop myself from trying too hard.
yeah,
But I did have to then send them emails saying this is going to be a little bit longer. I'm so
right,
sorry. I was up front saying, I have to do this around publisher books,
yeah.
but
You know,
it was a hard lesson.
there is and there's that phrase that people use about audiobooks that you have to accept good enough is good enough, and I'm just not that guy. I never have been.
For
I
publisher books, I am because I know it's good enough. I know I do well. I have enough confidence. I know. But when I've reached out
right.
personally and I know the person's written it and I love it, like they love it, and
Hmm.
then it gets to a whole other level of like, I don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
And once they're happy, I'm happy. I don't even think about reviews. I want them happy
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
reviews will kick you in the butt. I was on a
Oh.
book, those multi-narrator books?
Hmm.
Why did I choose that to be the first time I ever checked reviews? Thousands, thousands and thousands. And then somebody made a comment. I was like, hold on, that's my story. And it's one person, but eventually I learned after driving myself crazy that although it was a thriller, pretty much in
Hmm.
the title, a lot of people read it just because it was like high profile.
Hmm.
And they don't actually like anyone being murdered or bad language. So they were very, very upset.
Right. Yeah.
It's not about you all the time, but like I don't read it because I'll know it's about me
Yeah.
every single
I mean,
time.
I do. I get Craig Tollefson has this um what is it? Program he offers called Narratic, and it'll send you your reviews every day. And
Oh my
I
God.
get
Are
them every
you doing that?
I get them every morning. I read them every day.
Wow.
But you know what? What I will say, and I really feel this for if you're a narrator starting out, especially if I'm just insane. I recognize I'm insane and like to flagellate myself, so don't be me. But when you're starting out, I think that listening to what if you're getting reviews that are saying the same thing over and over and over again, it is a really good barometer for you to learn, take that specific issue to a coach, um, and it can make you better. The
I,
crazy,
but
the crazy single people that just hate you or
yeah,
whatever, that's gonna happen. Like, oh my God, there are people on Reddit that fucking hate me, but there are people on Reddit that love me. And you can't control it. Like, literally, it's like some people be like, Joel Leslie's my favorite narrator, and anything that listen I and if Joel Leslie's narrating it, I will burn my phone. like
but
like it,
see, even but the positive ones for me are as toxic as the negative ones.
Interesting.
Because so I have a partner, I have a fellow narrator that started when I started, and he's a male narrator, and
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't have a lot of time, and he's
Okay.
not chatty.
Okay.
And he looks at my reviews once a month, and I look at his reviews once a month.
That's amazing. That's
And
so
he
amazing.
tells me if there's anything that I
Yep.
need flagged
I love
in
that.
in a 3-word sentence,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not, I don't need the details
Yeah.
because I can't. I bring it into the booth.
Mm-hmm.
I bring the highs and the lows. I'm the best narrator. Goes the one, what was the one? White Lotus. And the famous character, she died on the boat, to
Oh,
blonde.
right. Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, somebody said I sounded like her. I spent a whole week wandering around.
Oh my God.
I just can't. I just don't have that thick
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah.
I
Um,
agree. Sean Pratt says that, doesn't he? Sean always says he caught something by reading his reviews.
yeah, absolutely.
But like
Um,
you, having it with your breakfast coffee, that's hardcore.
yeah. I'm not saying I recommend it. But yeah. And I'll tell you one thing it has taught me recently is sometimes the sometimes the directive you get from the publisher isn't always right. And sometimes you need to go to bat, because I did a nonfiction book by a very famous author, and he just recently died. And I did his last book. I was lucky to do it. Um, and I they very specifically asked for standard American accent. And this guy, this author, in the brief, like, they said, we want standard American. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And when you listen to interviews of this guy, he's very Southern. And almost Leslie, oh God, who's the little guy from Will and Grace? Crap.
Oh, I
Uh,
know who you're talking about.
anyway, is it
I can't
Leslie?
think of
Not
his
Leslie
name.
Jordan. Is it Leslie Jordan? He's dead. Anyway,
Anybody knows, throw it in the chat
okay, throw it
box.
in the chat. But anyway, you know what I mean. But he's like, he was a Southern kind of raconteur, like, very kind of color. And I it was the wrong choice. And the reviews don't all love what I'm doing with the
They wanted
narration.
you to do Southern. So
Well,
you did
they're
Southern?
not specifically saying that. They're not, yes, Leslie
Leslie
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah, they're not.
Thanks, Kaylee.
The reviews don't say I should have done Southern. The reviews just don't necessarily love what I'm doing. And I think
Yeah.
the reason is because I'm not capturing his voice, even though they wouldn't know that, even if they'd never heard the guy speak. I think that I needed to go to bat for that. And sometimes that's scary, but I've learned that sometimes it's you need to, if you can back it up and you can say, look, I really think, if you look at the text, if you look at this, because in the text he's talking about being from Georgia or wherever he's from and things like
Yeah,
that.
I
I think
really think if you let me do it this way, I can deliver something special for you.
exactly,
But then you
exactly.
have to deliver.
Yeah,
That's where it is. It's having the confidence.
right. 100%. Um, yeah.
Confidence isn't something we have, though, isn't it? It's something we do.
Yes. Oh, that's very smart. Yeah,
That
100%.
just like came out of nowhere. I think that came from your energy. That's
But
like true, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, I think that um,
Every action we take and we
you know,
show up, we're showing up with confidence.
it's it's it'll happen to me sometimes when I'm teaching, and we'll go through class, and people will be responding, or they'll have like there'll be a breakthrough or something, or people will say something to what I and and class will end, and I'll say to Rich, and I'll be like, "Isn't this shit just obvious? Like you don't." And I don't mean to discount, but what I kind of mean is you don't necessarily when when you have a gift for something, it can feel pedestrian to us. Um, and I think what sometimes happens with that is because it just feels like, oh, I'm just me. I'm not special. It's not, I don't
The
have any,
difference between
you
acting and
don't,
being.
you don't walk into it with the confidence. It's by
Yeah.
doing the thing, as you
Yeah.
said, it's by, you know, if you say to me, you know, do I think I'm a particularly is there a reason why people think I'm a great teacher? Which I'm very lucky that some people would say that, and I'm or at least effective teacher or
Some
whatever,
people,
grow
some people.
but
Everyone loves Joel
well, no, no,
Joel's
no,
teaching,
but
but
like
it's true.
I don't walk into a room thinking that. What happens is you just you
You
do
show up
and
as that.
and that
Yes.
follows like
It's
it's
all we can do is show up in the moment as the person we are, that
yeah,
we want to be. Like show up in the moment the very best we can. It's
right.
what because when you're acting, that's all they're doing in acting class is peeling away the layers of the crap that we're putting on instead of what would we really do if we walked into the room. It's like what is it Uda that says that when you walk into a room, do something physical
Oh
first
my
thing
God, yes, I teach
to
that all
pull
the
you
time.
back in
You
to
do
the
an action.
moment. Yes.
100%. It's yeah, it's one of the things it's like the second week of class. And what's funny is audiobook narrators go, "Well, but I'm not but you're visualizing it. If you're
I don't understand how audiobook narrators think it's any different than acting. It is
no,
acting.
you have to see it. You have to connect
Yeah.
physically to, you know, and it is 100% that if you just kind of don't if you're not in action and make yourself do, you become mired in the self. You become
Yeah.
self-aware. If you're doing and you're committed to an action, you're trying to achieve the action. You don't have time to be in your head, you know?
And
Um,
if you ever want to test it, I was so sick. I was just so sick one day. And I did a video, like a Facebook Live thing. I don't do them very often, but I was feeling so positive and I had all these like epiphanies and I wanted to share them. And I looked at the video and I thought, oh my God, your energy looks sick. You look sick. You don't look well. And you're crumpled. And then I challenged myself to not look at the video and listen to the voice.
mhm,
And if I had been in recording that day, listeners would not have gotten what
right.
I owe them because you could hear it. And that's like if you think you can't hear it,
Mhm.
video yourself and look at just for yourself and look at yourself.
Interesting.
You'll be able
Yeah.
to see it.
One of my favorite examples of that action thing, this is kind of random, but there's a scene in White Christmas where the movie White Christmas, where Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye, early on in the movie, like about 10, 15 minutes in, they're in a dressing room and they're having a conversation in a dressing room. And those actors, every single second of that scene, are doing something completely unrelated to what is on the page. And it is completely alive.
Yeah,
And it is
I
specific
know
because of
that
that.
scene.
And if we just imagine as actors when we're in front of a microphone, if we just imagine we're literally two statues with moving mouths, we don't function that way, you know? If it just it even
Or
if it's
get mired in the
exactly
technicalities of the am I going to put an emphasis on this word? And like I get that you need to get all that out of the way and do the markups and learn the gig, but then you need to act. And also that brings me to my Achilles heel is the you need to be able to keep that up, which means your instrument. I read this when I was 10 years old in an acting book. I was either going to run away and join the circus or become an actress. And they all said, you have to be fit, you have to train, you are an athlete. But we think our voice is that. You've all heard your voice
Mhm.
is an athlete's voice. But our health and our bodies, we can't do it without that.
No,
There's that life force, and that's, I think, the biggest challenge. If you think you can just work 24 hours a day and not take care of the rest,
yeah,
you have to bring to the booth a healthy, fulfilled, healthy person.
yeah. And an active imagination. And I think a lot of people don't let that be a part of their work. I
Yeah,
think they
because where
just,
do you have happiness and joy in your life as well?
yeah,
Because that's where it comes from. Do you have childhood wonder? Do you watch something you're excited about? Do you look at art? Do you decorate? Do you do something that like, where do you get your creativity from?
yeah. I'm a 5-year-old. Like I really am. Like there are a lot of aspects of my life where I am very kid-like. Um, and I'm glad for that, you know? Um, and I
Because
think,
what's the alternative?
yeah,
You know?
I think that I love getting to play, and the one of the best parts of this job is we get to play.
Yeah.
But I am a playful human being. Um, and I think that's where creativity and spark and and finding what you bring to a story, um, and your unique lens on a story is what's so important. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want my version of an audiobook to be the same as any other guy they could have hired to do the audiobook, you know? Uh,
And I mean, I think that's it, isn't it? It's we're respecting and honoring their voice. So the challenge is not to overlay our voice. It's their characters, it's their world,
mhm,
and we're giving the best us we can,
right.
open palm. I'm here, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna. And Jen says, I love this. I'm in my art studio every day before I record and when I take
Oh,
breaks.
that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah.
The energy of love. It's the
And they
energy of
play off
love.
each other. You know,
Yeah.
absolutely like when you've yeah, that is one thing when it's funny when you say, I wish I had time for hobbies. I wish I am very artsy and I don't have that space in my life to
Can I
play.
challenge you with something, Joel?
Yes.
Because I don't. I barely have time to brush my teeth. And in the last 2 weeks, I have bought my first vintage display mannequin
Oh, wow.
from Germany, and I'm styling it. I've upscaled most of my furniture, redone my house maximalist the way I've always
Mhm.
wanted. I'm every time I finish one, I'm doing covers and sewing, and every time I finish one project, I'm doing them late at night. I'm doing them in little moments in the morning, but I can't stop myself. And somehow the time is finding itself.
Yeah.
And every time I think I'm done, there's something else. It's like, ooh, but that's so pretty. Now I have to make that pretty because
Mhm.
find, just grab the thing and start. Don't wait to find the time. Don't schedule it in. Grab something and start because
Yeah.
you will never ever find the time. And do you know what? It's kept me alive.
I love that. I love that so much. That's
Just it'll
so
find
great.
its own
Yeah.
time. It'll find its own. Somebody said, oh, Jen says I have to make
Make
myself
myself
do it.
do
I
it.
noticed I was in a funk and realized I wasn't in my art studio. I wake up early and get in there
Mm,
because less human if I'm not. Yeah, it's I challenge you to buy one thing that like artsy, craftsy, one hot thing you've always wanted to do. What is it? Karen plays the violin. Do you know what I mean? The happiest narrators I know have that.
have a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Buy all my friends say creepy vintage display mannequin. They're so cool. I'm in a group now.
There's a woman, I've forgotten her name. You would love her, I think. Oh gosh. She does it's gothic stuff. She does, but she oh god, she had a show on TV. And she has this massive Patreon, but I'll find the name for you. But
Yes.
she does this. She upscales. She like literally will like make her own molding. Like it's insane.
It's addictive. I'm sorry. I've just done a hot pink dresser with gold trim and I'm doing stars and moons on. I mean, I am like completely crazy at this point.
Yeah.
And it all started with that Twilight Zone episode years ago where the mannequins came to life. That's the source of my crazy. So find your
Wow.
crazy and chase it. And Jen says you should write your cozy mystery. That could be your art outlet.
I would love to. Yeah, I want to. I
That
really
takes
do.
time, though, doesn't it? Writing
It
takes
does.
time.
Yeah. The weird thing about my cozy mystery is I have everything in my head except the murderer. No, except the victim. I have like the characters, I have the town, I have the banter, I have the hero. I don't have anybody to die. So I got to work on that, which is kind of important in a cozy mystery. It's sort
Well,
of
just wait till the
a
next time someone
linchpin.
annoys you
Yes, exactly.
and give them
Um,
that role.
I know some there's a really famous story of somebody that did that. There was a guy who used to run a regional theater called Paper Mill Playhouse, and in New Jersey. And people, he was kind of a little Napoleonic, um,
Ah,
and an actor hated him so much that he actually wrote a book called Who Killed Peter Pan, in which this because this guy used to cast himself as the lead, in which it's fictional, but it's like it's literally about this theater, and he like fictionalized the idea of this guy like
I
playing
would
Peter
love
Pan
that.
and the rope getting cut.
I would love that.
So
I would love that. I think that's another that if I ever need plan B, writer,
yeah.
influencer, there are 100 things to choose from. While I'm waiting to turn white-haired, old enough to get my acting career started. Joel, I just thank you for sharing your energy with us tonight because
Oh,
I needed someone that could match me and deliver the magic that I'm craving at the moment.
it's just we got to learn to play. We got to learn
Yeah.
to we got to learn to find joy even in the craziest, weirdest dinosaur shifter gay sex books that we do. and
Yeah.
and you find just just don't I totally agree with you that other people's energy can stress you out. um and one of the I don't know if I don't know if you do this. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got about Facebook is I read the notifications, I don't read the thread. And it prevents you doom scrolling. It really
I go on those threads that are meant to rage bait people,
Yeah,
and then I read the comments
yeah.
to find the vile people so I can block them. They're not even directed at me. They
Oh
don't
my
even know
gosh.
me. I literally search when I'm in one of those moods
Yeah.
for negativity because it's the chemicals in your brain. Your brain gets addicted to those chemicals as much as to positive ones. And I think you need to have such strong energy that you
Yeah.
just keep stoking it and stoking it so that your energy crowds out all that other energy. People
Yeah.
can't help. How is somebody gonna come at you with their scarcity worries when you're like full on showing the world how to make it happen?
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee says, thank you both so much.
Oh,
The dopamine hit.
yay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I think, our mission. We'll show them how it's done.
Absolutely.
Yes. Joel, you are a delight.
Oh, I love you so much. It's such a
I'm
joy to
not
talk
going
to
to
you.
promise that I won't chase you again someday.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love our,
And
it's like a yearly check-in. I love it. It's our little,
our
it's our
little,
little,
and I want to get healthy and go on your cruise someday.
I
Keep doing
know.
them
I
so that
will.
they're there when I'm ready.
They are a dopamine hit. I promise you.
I have my outfits
They are
planned.
joy. They are joy. They are um I'm very proud that they're their own little bit of magic. They
They
are
are. They
we're
are
very proud
pure
of them.
magic.
So
The Love Boat cruises. Thank you, Joel.
thank you,
Thank you.
Daniela.
And thanks to the studio audience. Mwah.
Thank you. All right, bye guys. Go play.
Bye.
Go have fun.
Yes. Bye. Bye.
Bye.